scold you, you can resubmit. We are here to walk you through, to baby step you through if you need to. You're brand new. We have all sorts of ways to help. And what we're going to talk about here in a second is all the ways that you can actually help us going forward. What kind of ways you can give us feedback about what's going on in your LEAs in regard to privacy and what maybe we should look forward to in the future once we are all 100% as a state comprehensive and compliant. Nicole?
Thanks. So before we start talking about the pilot program, I just want to just throw out there if anybody has any clarifying questions about the any of the surveys that we talk about, especially about the metadata dictionary, go ahead and toss them in the chat. John will be keeping an eye on the chat, and you're welcome to ask questions there. But we also will be with you guys like through this whole process. So if questions come up as you're trying to go through things, we are here for you. It's not a test. It's just an opportunity for us all to review our policies and make sure that we've got everything as awesome as we can make it. All right, so I just want to talk briefly about our pilot program. So if you were around last year, then you probably saw the introduction that Katie gave about the pilot program that we were going to do last year. Things didn't quite work out with that due to some changes and some things that were going on. But this year we're going to do it. So I want to talk a little bit about what that pilot program looks like and how it's different from how we usually do things. So we just talked pretty in depth about the traditional review. That's how things are done right now. And with that review, we're mainly looking at policies and notices to make sure that you have all the stuff that the law requires. So with that review, it's every LEA, it's every year, and every year we're checking the same stuff. And then at the end of the review, we send you a report and we say, hey, you did great with this and this, but we need you to fix this and this. So with the oh yeah, sorry, this graphic is so cute and I forgot that it was going to be there. So this is kind of a graphic that represents like all the stuff that you guys do. So as part of the education realm, we educate students. We have privacy and security best practices we're concerned about. We want to make sure that we're on top of the stuff that the law requires. And that little dot right in the middle is the stuff that we check for in the traditional review. So it's very narrow. It's very focused on compliance. So this new approach that we're looking at would be much more personalized, and there would be 4 steps to it. So the first step would be a self-assessment. This is something that we would be happy to help you guys with, but essentially what you would do is go through a list of questions about different elements of security and privacy best practices, and you guys would just fill out like somewhere along the lines of either we have no idea what this is, or we're super, super confident with this, we're rocking it, or we're somewhere in the middle. And then based on the results of that assessment, you would make a goal. So looking at all these different areas, you would say to yourself, like, well, we're doing really well in this area, but maybe we need a little bit more support in the realm of security or a little bit more support in the realm of professional development. So we're going to make a goal about that. Then over the course of the next year, you would work on that goal. And we would be happy to be as involved as you would like us to be. So if you need extra support, training, ideas, whatever, we would help you with that. And then at the end of the time period that you would set, you would follow up with us about how your goal is going, whether you met it, if you need to make changes to it, or whatever. So here's some ideas about some ideas for goals that you might set for yourself. You might think to yourself, like, we really need to work on our metadata dictionary. So we're going to really focus on getting DPAs for all the products we're using. Maybe we decide we need to update access rights to systems that have student information. So maybe we think, well, we need to figure out, what kinds of different roles there are in our LEA and who needs what kinds of rights. We really need to focus on that. Maybe we need to create remediation plans based on cybersecurity concerns, or figure out how to handle directory information, including how are we going to document who wants to opt out of things? How are we going to honor those requests? Maybe we want to clean up documentation of data sharing agreements or procedures, improve parent communication regarding all these different notices and how we handle them. Maybe we want to have more of a culture of privacy in our LEA. Maybe we want to improve training for employees. And these are just some examples. The self-assessment would help you to figure out what your goal would be, but these are all ideas about what those goals might look like. So just as kind of a comparison, as we said before, the traditional review is very narrow and focused. It's based on notices and policies. It's really hyper focused on compliance with the law. And it's the same for all LEAs. Everybody does the same thing regardless of kind of where you're at in your privacy journey. The personalized review would be a little bit broader and more focused on what you feel that you need. So it'd be more focused on the practices in your LEA as opposed to the notices and policies that you're using. And the idea would be that it would be personalized based on your needs so that you can focus on growing in whichever area you feel like you need to grow in. So rather than focusing really narrowly on that stuff in the middle, we would also be there to support you with the stuff in the traditional review if you feel like that's what you need to focus on, but also the stuff the law requires and the privacy and security best practices. We realize kind of the biggest part of what you're doing is educating students, and we want to support you in reaching that ultimate goal. So this personalized review would be a way to help you accomplish the goals that you have for yourselves in the privacy realm so that you can make sure that you're creating an environment of safety and security for your students and educators. I've already talked to a couple of you who had expressed interest last year in participating. If any of you out there are listening to this and feeling like this is something that you might be interested in, you can send me an email. There is, of course, absolutely no obligation to participate, even if you had signed up for to do this last year. But if you're listening to this and you're thinking this is really something that my LEA might be interested in doing, send me an email and we can talk about whether it's a good fit for you this year.